All right, welcome to the object-oriented section. In this first video, I'm just going to go over something very quickly so that we can save time for the next couple of videos. Everything that we've dealt with so far has been an object. Everything in Python is an object. Okay, we're going to go into exactly what an object is in the next video when we write our own objects. But it's just object-oriented programming is just simply a way to, again, organize code. It's for no other thing. You're going to begin to see some of the benefits behind object-oriented programming. Now, just a quick disclaimer and something to keep in mind. This section is only so that you can understand how to use objects. The primary reason that us cybersecurity folks need to learn Python is so that we can learn how to read things and we know how to, if we are going to code, chances are we're going to use packages, and packages I'll go over in 2 videos from now. And so our main purpose is not to write large programs with multiple objects and multiple classes. So this is not, and I repeat, is not some kind of comprehensive thing. So just to prove really quickly, I'm going to show you some things. So I'm going to say list. I'm actually going to say names equals whatever, and I'll put just one name in here just to save time. I'm going to place in age equals to 45. I'm going to place in um, food favorite food is equal to, let's see, pizza. And I'm going to show you one last thing. I'm going to say just thing. It doesn't really matter. And I'll say name, and I will say it is a ball. Okay, a ball. Now, here's how I will show that everything is an object, including all of these things here. And then actually we'll say one last one. I'll say bool var equals to true. Okay. So quickly print. And if you're not sure what a specific thing is, there is something that you can do. You can say type parentheses, right? This is a function that's built into Python, age. So let's see what this output, and it says class int. If I change this to bool var and save it and run it, it says class bool. If I do the same thing for thing and save it, it says class dict. And lastly, I'll do the same thing for names, Control S, class list. So you see everything is an object. We're going to talk about classes in the next video, but just so you can be aware and take a little bit of worry from it, just know that everything you've dealt with so far in Python has been an object already. So tacking on from what we went over in the last video, we're going to create our own classes today. We're going to create our own object. You're going to know how to do this. So really quickly, a couple of things. One is from the last video. If I just execute this, so we did the type, it says class list. So names, right? And this is important to know. Names is an instance. Actually, I will do all caps. It is an instance of the class list. Okay. Got that so far? It's the same thing as this. A Toyota is an instance of class car. It's a type of car. And car is something that we'll just keep going with, right? So everybody can kind of relate to at least what a car is, whether you have one or not. And let's start off by making our object really quick. So it starts off simple. We're going to say class car, capital letters is the convention, okay? Colon. Now, everything in here, everything in this code block is going to be things that belong to a car. So a car generally has a color, and we'll say blue. And we will say make equals Toyota. And we will say model equals, oh goodness, I'm drawing a blank on Toyota. So Toyota Prius. Why not? So now we have a class and it has attributes or characteristics, right? It has attributes for color, make, and model right now. And these have values. Now we can't just, I mean, I guess we could, you think we would be able to print uh, car.color. So let's try that and see what happens. And we get blue. However, however, we want each car to have different colors, different makes, different models. So if you wanted different ones, okay, you can do this. First of all, how we instantiate an object of class car. We're going to do this by saying, we're going to say car1 equals car, like this, okay? Class 1 equals car. And if we say to print out, and this is how we do it, we'll say car1 and then a dot, and you see we have make, model, and color right here. So if I just do color and Control S and I execute this, we get blue. So we still get it. But here I can also do this. I can say car1 dot color equals to black. Now, if I run this one more time, I get black. So you see, if I do another car and I do car2 equals car, so now I can print out car2 dot color. Okay, and this is going to bring it home for you here. So I changed car1's color to black and we get black. Car2 though, car2, I never changed the color and it's set to blue, so it's blue. So you notice now we can have different cars and they have the same attributes, right? Like all people have arms for the most part, legs, eyes, a face, a head, right? Um, but everybody's different. Everybody has different values for those attributes, the same way as a car. Okay. Now we're going to do some other things. If you noticed right here, I have car1 equals car with parentheses. And you might say, well, this is what we do whenever we call functions like up here. And you're exactly right about that. So what if we do not want to have these automatically set? I'm going to show you this really quickly. So let's get rid of this. And what if I told you it's like that because there is a function that automatically executes whenever you instantiate an object? I'm going to show you it's a special function. It has to have this name. So we're going to define a function underscore underscore, okay, init underscore underscore, and it kind of auto corrects to this, but we're not gonna use this. Okay. And I'll explain self in a moment. So what we can also do is, let's say we want to pass in, this is a function. So whenever we instantiate the object, we want to give it a color, okay? And we're going to say a make and a model. So now here's what we're going to do. We're going to say self, and I'll explain this in a moment, don't worry. Self.color equals the color that we passed in. Self.make equals the make that we passed in, and self.model equals the model that we passed in. So this is going here, this is going here, this is going here. I'm going to explain self right now. So whenever we instantiate an object now, I'm going to say car1 equals car. And now we have to put things in here. You see how it says color, make, and model? Isn't that wonderful? Right? So I'm going to say a blue. I'm going to say Hyundai. I'm probably not spelling it right. And I'm going to say the model is going to be Elantra. And I'm not worrying about capitalization right now because who cares? Now, if I do car2 equals car, okay, and I will say gray, I will say Lamborghini, and I will say Urus. Okay, it's a really cool car. You should look that up. Now, watch this, print, and I'll say an F string, and I'll say car1 has a color of, and I'll say car1 dot color, and then I will say and car2, oops, and car2 has a color of, and I will say car2 dot color. Right? So now let's take a look at this. Let's clear my screen. Car1 has a color of blue, and car2 has a color of gray. And this is possible because of self. All functions inside of a class have to have self passed into them for the most part. And this is why whenever we make changes, whenever we put something here, and if we have self, this is referring to car1 itself, right? So car1 is an instance and car2 is an instance. So to just make changes to the instance, self has to be passed in. Self, in this case, self means this instance of the class, not the entire class, right? Because if it's the entire class, then it changes that particular attribute for all instances of that class. And so, hope that makes sense. Watch this over and over again. One more thing, we can put anything we want to inside of classes, including functions. And this is the last thing I'm going to go over. I can say def, and um, let's say get gas. Okay. And I'm going to pass in self, always pass in self. Okay. And then I will pass in an amount. Okay. Actually, no, I won't. I'm just going to pass in, I'm not going to pass in anything. And then I will say self dot gas plus equals to 1. So what I will also do here, actually we'll say 10. Okay. So here, even though if you want a default, okay, so this is for default value for all instances of a class, I'll say self dot gas equals to 0. Okay. Now I will create this. So every time I do dot get gas to a specific object, it will add 10 to the self dot gas. And then also I will say def check gas self, right? And I will say return self dot gas. So this is returning. This is like, hey, if I this is to check how much gas I have, and this is to add gas to the car being referenced. Sorry about that. All right. So let's do this quickly because we're running out of time here. So I have already car1 and car2. If I say print car1 dot get check gas, okay, and this is a function, so we have to have both of those. And then we will say print, not print. I'm going to say car1 dot get gas, okay, and then I will print it out one more time. So I'm going to take this, I'm just going to copy and paste it underneath here. And I'm going to not worry about this. That's kind of annoying. Now, and then I will also just comment this out so you don't have to worry about it. So if I run this, so it starts out with 0 and then it goes up to 10, right? So I'm checking the gas. It starts out with 0, and then I'm saying get gas, which adds 10 to the gas. And then I'm checking the gas again for car1. If I change this to car2, and this is again a reinforcement of the self thing, okay, it's 0 because this is car2. Car2 did not get changed. We didn't get gas with car2. and car2 still has the default value of 0. So this is very useful. We could also have this print out the self.gas, so we don't have to put print here. We can have methods that do various things, okay? So that's all we need to know about classes. Basically, because we're going to be using objects and we need to understand how objects work in general. So that's it for this video, and I hope you enjoyed. Please watch this over and over again. This is not the simplest topic. It's kind of strange. All right, everybody, welcome. I'm going to talk to you for a second about importing packages and what packages are. Now, usually most tutorials will start off by just importing packages and exploring them. I'm not going to do it that way. I'm going to do it a different way. So everyone sees here we have class car, and I'm going to rename this file here. I'm going to rename this cars.py. So I have cars.py. Now, we have a class of car, and we want to use this in a different Python file. So here I will say my example .py. And what does that mean we need to use this? So in other words, I'm going to really quickly also change this to print. I'm going to print self.gas so we don't have to do the print statements. All right. See how we are so far? So now I want to say I want to import this file, anything in this file. Okay. I can also, let's just say I have a function random thing, right? And then I will just say print, look at me, I am here. Okay. So this is not related to the class. This is just another function. Now, check this out. I can say import cars, right? And then if I go cars dot car, take a look at that. Now I can say car1 equals cars dot car, and then I can say car1 dot, and look, I have check gas, get gas, all of this stuff. But you know that I have to pass in the make and model, right? So I have I can put everything here, which is the color, and I'll just say green, and I will say Honda, and I will say Civic. Okay, and I'll say car1 dot color, or actually car1 will print car1. Okay, if I control S, if I now I'm in this example.py, if I run it, I just get this object. Okay, but if I say print car1 dot color, I will get green. So you see how I'm using the class in the other file? This is generally not what we would do because you see how messy this can get. I have cars.car. So instead, I can say from cars import car. So I'm importing the class. So now all I have to do is this. And I can run it again and I will get the same thing. But see how much cleaner this is? Okay. So you can import all this. And lastly, I have this standalone function called random thing. So I can put a comma and say random thing here, or I can also say from cars import random thing. So you can do this separately, but generally you will just say also I want random thing. So now I can just say random thing, and I can call the function that's in the other file. Look at me, I am here. Okay, so in other words, here's what packages are. Packages are just really complex Python files that some really smart people have written and published in such a way that you can download them and import them and use their code in your Python applications. And we are going to be doing that in the next section when we talk about APIs. Imagine for a second that you needed to make a request to a website and get back the HTML. If I ask you to code that right now, you will not know how to do it. But we can do it in 3 lines of code by using someone else's code in this same way. So that is it for importing packages, and that's it for this section. So in the next section, we're going to get to the really fun stuff, which is we're literally going to be making queries to an API. But first, we're going to talk about what the heck an API really is.